So I want to thank the people from Brussels Airport for the partnership today. Thank you very much. Just that everybody knows, we are recording this session so that our members that are not able to join us today are able to watch it in when it's posted on our website. And if you have any questions during the event, feel free to submit them in the chat function. We will be more than happy to handle those questions at the end of the presentation. So, as I already said, today we're going to discuss an update on the situation at Brussels Airport and also how the reality will look like post-pandemic. So, with no further ado, I want to give Tanya the floor. Tanya, go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pascal. And I also already would like to thank Sophie as well. So I'm here today with my colleague Gita. We work for Brussels Airport in the Aviation Development Department. And today I'm going to go through a few slides with you, as Pascal has mentioned, to give you an update of the airport, but also most importantly, to share with you the passenger flow. We've had a lot of questions on that topic. And actually, to give you some background, we did this presentation a few weeks ago, and BATM had reached out to saying, hey, we would really like an updated version for our members because it could be relevant for them as well. So this is why we are here today. As Pascal has mentioned, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to submit them in the chat, and we will make sure to answer them at the end of the presentation. As I said, I'm here with my colleague Heat, so if there's any questions in Dutch that you wish to submit as well, she's definitely here and can help as well. So for today, I have a few slides foreseen. Oh, I can't get to the next slide. Why not? Technical issues. Sorry, guys. Voila. So on the agenda, we have three main topics. I'll first start sharing with you some information about our figures, our network, as well as share our intentions for the summer in regards to some communication and some numbers, some data that we have been able to assemble. And most importantly, I'll share with you the passenger journey. And as I said, when we finish the presentation, we will answer any of your questions, be it on these topics or any other topic that we have not covered, but where you still have questions. So without further ado, let me start the presentation. First and foremost, figures and network. I think it's really important here that we first look at our 2019 figures. Why? Because this will help us to compare where we're at today and in the future. So 2019 was a very good year for us. We had more than 26 million passengers. We had 207 destinations served by more than 60 airlines, 64 to be more accurate. As I said, it was a very good year, not only for us as an airport, but as a whole as of the industry. As you can see in regards to our passenger profiles, most of our passengers are Belgian residents. So that's what you see in the slide here. 49% are based in Belgium. We do have 6% cross-border coming from the north of France and the south of the Netherlands. We also have a small transfer percentage, which is 18 compared to some other big European hubs where those numbers are much higher. We've maintained a stable number of 18% in the last few years. And then we have visitors, so the people who are coming from abroad to Belgium or Europe and fly out of our airport. The main reason of travel, contrarily to what many people think, Brussels Airport still is a dominant leisure airport with 53% of the reason of travel being holidays. Nevertheless, 28% is for business reason and 20% VFR, so visiting friends and relatives, which makes sense as Belgium is such an important city in regards to different communities, but also the expat community. If we stick to the past numbers, I'm sharing here with you today our traffic results in 2019 and up to today. So as you can see, the blue line is our numbers of 2019. As we said already, it was a very good year. As you can see in regards to number of passengers per month, we were doing very well. Then 2020 starts, and obviously here I don't have to explain much. January, February, we're doing quite well, as you can see above the 2019 figures. And obviously, as of March, the drastic drop. And you can see there, obviously, as of June, numbers are starting to pick up, but we're not talking hardly anything in comparison to 2019, with only 4% of the numbers of 2019 and then going up to around 20 and then dropping again. As you can see as well in red, we have the first few months of 2021, and those numbers didn't look great either. We were hoping to get more passengers as of the Easter holidays, but obviously with the restrictions the government had laid out, obviously that was not feasible. Nevertheless, you can see as of May, it's starting to pick up with 18 again. So that's looking into the past. But if we look into the future, we obviously have our traffic forecast. This forecast is based on market intelligence, but also our discussions with our airlines, so the bilateral airline feedback that we get from them. We also look at past passenger aircraft load factors, and we adapt it to the market. So here you can see the yellow line, which is based on that forecast, and where we expect from as of the summer, indeed, an increase. We're talking about 31%, and then it goes up to almost 50% and stable, and then we talk about 70%. Now, this is a forecast, obviously. We've seen how in the last few months things can evolve quickly. Nevertheless, this is what we're hoping for. I know one of the questions we get most commonly is, when do we expect to get back to 2019 figures? Here, based on our forecast, we're looking at something between 2025, 2026. So hopefully that will be sooner, but right now that is what we have forecasted. Now, obviously, the exercise is done regularly. So depending on the elements we are given, we adapt our forecast. And hopefully, as I said, we hope that we will reach those numbers of 2019 before 2025. Now, I think it's important that we looked at the past, that we compared to where we're at today. So as we said, in 2019, 64 passenger airlines, 207 destinations. If we look at our current situation, so I'm really talking about this current summer, we're looking at 50 passenger airlines to 170 destinations. So the offer is still there. It's not as important as it was in 2019, but I think the perception of many is that we have even less airlines present and less destinations to offer. Nevertheless, you can see it right here in front of you, that is not the case. What we see as well is in regards to the airlines present. Here I've grouped it in regards to alliances, legacy, and low cost, because I think in your case, in your profile, this is the most interesting. You can see that we foresee this year 57 airlines to be present. So this is based on what we've heard, and this is what we expect to be able to announce as end of summer. There are some airlines, obviously, that are pending. We're talking about the Air Algérie, the Czech Airlines, and the Ukraine International. Those we will see if they are to come still. In regards to, therefore, our summer network, you can see that our offer for short haul is quite an impressive short haul offer. And even we've had some new destinations. Now, why I've put these together is because obviously most of those new destinations are based in Europe and cater to the leisure demand or the VFR demand. Nevertheless, I do want to mention there are new airlines as well. So as of since May, we welcome Sky Express, who fly to Athens and beyond to 34 destinations in Greece, but we're also looking at further ahead in the year into some new destinations, again, most leisurely destinations such as Air Belgium to Mauritius, but also we're very looking forward to welcoming Transavia, which had been foreseen already in the past, to Innsbruck. In regards to our long-haul network, as you can see, most of our airlines are still present. So we're talking about an offer that's still on the table. Nevertheless, there are some airlines who at the moment are no longer present. We're thinking of a Cathay Pacific or Singapore Airlines that was announced to start in 2020. Both of those airlines hopefully will come back, but when we can't say yet. In regards to Air Transat, you can see we still have it on the map at the moment. That's also pending in regards, will they restart in 2021 or will it be a little later or will it be under another brand, Air Canada? So that's our current offer. You can see our Gulf carriers are still there. Our offer to Asia has been a little bit restrained, but in regards to our offer to North America, the offer is still there. Some destinations will only start as of October. I'm thinking of Delta, as we said already, Air Belgium, but also Thai Airways, which would only start all three as of October. Now, if we look further ahead, so we're past 2021, even 2022, there are obviously airlines for which we are in discussions, well, soon will be again, to get them back, but also to start new routes. And this is something we've shared with you in the past many times, but I did want to share it with you once again to show our priorities. Our priorities are based on demand. So obviously before we decide to talk to an airline, we look at our data and we decide, okay, this is a route that makes sense to start from Brussels Airport because there is enough demand for it. So there are enough passengers flying currently via another hub. But if we were to have an offer from Brussels Airport, it would be actually a success. So we would like to, first of all, restore some routes. As I said, Delta Airlines to Atlanta, they will restart in October with a New York flight, but Atlanta is still pending. Then Air Canada, which was foreseen to start with their Toronto flight, will obviously, due to the borders still being closed, that will be foreseen probably later, but when we hope soon. Then there are new routes we've talked already in the past with some of your members, is the San Francisco route that we're looking to develop in the longer term, Boston as well as Sao Paulo. If you see there's no airline mentioned next to the destination, it's because we're talking with different airlines that could possibly fill in that gap. Regards to Asia as well, we're talking about restoring Cathay Pacific to Hong Kong, Singapore Airlines to Singapore, but Shanghai as well. So we used to fly with Hainan. It was possible to reach Shanghai. We no longer offer that destination as a direct destination, but nevertheless, we know there's an important demand and we'd love to be able to put it back on the map. There are other destinations in Asia we are working on. Obviously, there's Seoul, there's Taipei, and Delhi. Those are indeed 3 destinations where we know there's an important demand and where we would definitely like to have a direct route. And this is where we actually need you as a member of BATM. If any of these routes make sense to you, if you have an important demand or will have or have had and know that as soon as things will pick up, these routes will be important, we'd love to hear from you. So do not hesitate to reach out after the presentation and have the possibility to discuss with you in regards to how many seats are we talking about, because this helps us in our business case when we discuss with the airlines to make the possibility of having these airlines present more concrete. If there are other destinations that are not on there that you know there will be an important demand, nevertheless, don't hesitate as well to reach out. We would love to hear from you as well on this. Now, this is what I had to say in regards to our network. Our next topic is summer 2021. Here, I'm not going to go too much into details, but I did want to share with you some of the activities we have been busy with and also what we are currently doing in regards to communication. So it is important to know that Brussels Airport, we're a very data-driven company and we love to run surveys yearly, be it here at the airport, face-to-face surveys, more than 60,000 every year. But we also run yearly surveys in the whole market. Why we do that is simply because if we were to only look at our data of passengers flying from our airport, it would give us a wrong impression of what's going on in the market. So we've been running these annual surveys, and since November last year, we've adapted it so that we can get a better understanding of the willingness to travel. So basically what we've done is there's a short few questions that we send out to the market to try and understand when are they willing to travel, why, and if not, why not, but also how they're booking, etc. We only survey people who have traveled in 2019 so that we get a proper comparison to our data from the past. As you can see here, we've shared with you the willingness to travel. So the question is, what are your intentions in regards to traveling in the next 6 to 12 months? Will you travel? And if so, have you booked or not booked? And here you can see that in the last few months, the willingness to travel has increased from 61% to 72%. So people are actually wanting to travel. I think what's important to emphasize here is that we are indeed, when we send out the survey, we do ask why they want to travel, what is the reason of travel. The majority is for leisure travel. In regards to the percentage of people wanting to travel for business, it's between 8 to 12%. So you can see that more than 80% is indeed in regards to leisure travel. There's also a percentage that's VFR, so visiting friends and relatives. So yes, it's important to see that people are wanting to travel, but in regards to business travel, it's not there yet. I think here Pascal will be much better suited to share some data and information, just like he did in the article this morning that appeared in De Morgan. Now, as we said, it's important for us to get passengers. It's a win-win-win situation. Not only is it important for us as an airport to have passengers, it's important for our airlines. It's also important for the travel industry. So what we have been doing is running a travel campaign this summer where we have invested heavily, so you can see, where the idea is to inspire people and then go from inspiration to booking. It was really important as for our communication start with inspiring people to travel. That was when people could not travel. That was not allowed yet. And then move on to the next step, which is book your travel. And we targeted specific groups. Obviously, as you can see here, mostly leisure, sun seekers for the summer holidays on the beach, the city trippers. the plus 65 simply because they have been vaccinated and visiting friends and relatives, but specifically the Moroccan community where we have been active for the last few years. And in regards to what efforts we've done, well, there's a bit of everything. So it will be online, it will be B2B, it will be as well B2C. A whole lot of series of activities have been foreseen around this. And this is our efforts to try and get people to feel confident in booking their travel and actually traveling. As I said, this would be just a short little passage just to share that we too are investing in encouraging people to travel. The next chapter is, I think, the chapter that interests you the most. It's a passenger's journey. So what we've noticed is that a lot of people assume that a lot of things had changed at the airport, and it is a little bit scary for a lot of people. Therefore, we thought, no, we need to share this information with the trade and reassure them so they too can assure their passengers, their clients, their colleagues, etc., to tell them that it's okay to travel through the airport. Not much has changed. So first and foremost, the 3 golden rules. I don't need to go into detail here. I think you see this everywhere in the country. Wear your mask at the airports and compulsory as of the age of 12. Do pay attention that for airlines, it depends on each airline. Some will say as of the age of 6, etc. We ask people to respect the social distancing of 1.5 meters, and everywhere at the airport you can find dispensaries to disinfect your hand. There is a short video that was actually presented to you during one of the last BATM sessions, which is a full passenger flow. It's a 3-minute video. This presentation will be available for you, so you can click on it afterwards and watch it, but you've seen it normally in one of the past presentations with BATM. In regards to the passenger flow, we thought it would be easier to tell you what has changed and what hasn't changed, simply because most of the flow hasn't changed. So what has changed? First and foremost, once you arrive at the airport, some people still do their check-in at the self-check-in kiosks or at the self-check-in counters of Brussels Airlines, where you tag your own luggage. Do know that those are closed at the moment, and that's for hygiene reasons. For those same reasons, our automated border control is closed. So that be when you're going to a non-Schengen flight, going to Pier B, those automated border controls are closed. You have to go through a manual check, but same when you come back from a non-Schengen destination. Currently, only passengers are allowed in the terminal, except if you have obviously somebody who has difficulties. We're talking unaccompanied minor or somebody with a disability, excuse me. Obviously, that person can be accompanied by one person into the terminal. Lounges have reopened since early June, so that's something very positive, I think, for your target group, be it the Brussels Airport Lounge, so the Diamond Lounges as we call them, but also the Brussels Airlines lounges have reopened. Know that right now our shops and restaurants are open, but they have a limited opening time, simply because we just don't have the number of passengers. So the opening hours are based on the expected number of passengers in the terminal. Therefore, we recommend that if you are interested in knowing if you can have a small bite to eat, or if you need to go shop, that you can go quickly online and just see the opening hours by clicking on shops and restaurant. Our parking, also there we have a limited opening of the parking, but it's not because there's no need for it. It's simply because there's less demand. Because there's less demand, we just don't see the need of opening all the parking. So P2 and P3, which are across the terminal, are open. P1 is closed currently. Nevertheless, if we were to have a boom in number of passengers, we would simply open P1 as soon as needed. I think what's also important to highlight here is the additional forms following governmental rules. Obviously, there are all those documents that passengers need to fill out. Here, I think it's important that you check the websites of our government, see what are the latest documents to follow. But do know, for example, for the passenger locator form, there's a new form since today that is available, simply because, as you are probably well aware, the rules change as of the 1st of July. So if you have somebody coming back, the new passenger locator form is available of today. Also for the passenger locator form, before it was as of the age of 16 that need to be filled out. Now it's as of the age of 12. Negative COVID-19 test, I will go into a slide a little further, and in regards to the EU digital COVID certificate, there are still a lot of discussions on how it will be applied in the apps. But as you know, as of now, traveling in Europe as of 1st of July, things have changed as well. As I said, we highly recommend that in regards to all these documents, you check what the government announces. In regards to the business travel document, the BTA, that one is no longer applicable. So that's not needed anymore to travel. COVID test centers. We do get a lot of questions from here, and I know you've heard a lot about the difference now in pricing, what has been announced in the news, etc. So we've tried to summarize it here in one slide for you. So we have 2 test centers, one for departing passengers and one for arriving passengers. The one for departing passengers is on the level of departure. So it's level 2, it's at the end of the terminal, it's on the outside. For arriving passengers, it's at the bus station. So it's what we call level 0. In regards to the cost, well, as you know, there's now the free PCR test with activation code that is available for the Belgians. Results is expected in maximum 36 hours. So now if you're a departing passenger, it's really important that you first register online. So there's the government website where you first need to go and register, and you get a 16-number code. With that code, you go on the EcoLab website, website of Brussels Airport, and you enroll entering that 16-digit code. Please do it no later than 24 hours in advance. That is really important to be able to access the free PCR test. For arriving passengers, well, that's obviously based on which destination they come from and the passenger locator form they filled out. It's free unless you're not affiliated to a Belgian health insurance fund, and that's then 40 euros, a little more than 40 euros that needs to be paid. In regards to our standard PCR test, if someone has not filled in the request and the activation code, it's 55 euros for the standard one. Results will be delivered in 24 hours. There's also a possibility to have a rapid PCR test. There it's 120 euros, and the results will be delivered in maximum in 6 hours. It really depends at what time of the day you come and do your test. Then last and not least, the antigen test. As you know, some destinations now have allowed for antigen tests, and that is 55 euros, and you will get the results within 50 minutes. Do know that our COVID test centers are open from 3 a.m. to midnight every day. So there really is a load of time to come and do your test. We do recommend, no matter what, to go via the EcoCare website and register. It's just so that we can manage indeed the flow and everything. For those interested, we do have an offer called Test and Fly, which allows passengers to come to our airport, do their tests, and either benefit from a reduced price at the Sheraton for a hotel room or a lunch. And there's even also some possibilities in regards to having a quick bite at the airport. Therefore, do not hesitate for those who are coming from far from the airport and do not want to do a drive there and back, that there is that possibility. I think it's also important to share some of the activities we have been doing at the airport to be sure that we are ready for the summer. We don't want to find ourselves in a situation like we've had in the past where everything goes well during the whole day, but then for 20 minutes something goes wrong, and obviously that's the only thing we see in the press. And so we've made sure that we have put in place a team that actually looked at all the possibilities of where things could go wrong at the airport, not that things usually go wrong at the airport. And so we've invested in some infrastructure. One of the main things that you will see if you come to our airport is the check-in row extension. So basically in front of the departure hall, you have two big tents, two big tents, sorry about that, three. Big tents outside, which is actually an extension of the check-in row. So what does it mean? Nobody has to go through the tents unless we see there's an issue at the check-in row of a specific airline, and there are people there to say, okay, for your flight, you need to then go through it. So basically, you're not standing in line there. We're just trying to slow down the flow into the terminal. Know that for each flight, it's written at which entrance you need to go, A, B, or C, and those you will see in the screens are right now in the picture on your right, where you have for each passenger therefore assigned an entrance. Also, another element we've tried to do is improve our wayfinding and queue management. To give you a good example, when you come back from a non-Schengen flight, you always have to go through the border control. So when they check your passport, as we said, the automated border is closed. So you have to go to a manual check. Well, there we've highlighted on the ground some stickering so that people know which side they need to go if they are having a European passport or non-European passport, or if they have a connecting flight. And the stickering on the floor will be found much higher up into that hallway, so that indeed we don't find ourselves with a bottleneck. We've also foreseen extra airport crew. So those are the people who are working at the airport with the green shirts to be able to answer all the questions of passengers, really to advise left, right, and everything. So there we've also invested heavily. Other things maybe less relevant, but could be interesting. We always have a family lane during holidays. It's a lane at screening, which allow families to feel that they're a little bit more at ease when they go through screening, because the staff there knows that it takes a little more time with the little ones. So therefore we always have a family lane. We will have that again this summer. Also foreseen normally is a chill zone. Basically the idea is to have an extra zone where people can wait for their flight, so that indeed we assure that social distancing at gates, etc. Other efforts we have invested in are more in regards to digital. And yes, I think you're all frequent flyers and you're used to traveling at the airport. Nevertheless, what we've seen is that a frequent flyer who travels with his family once a year or twice a year has a different attitude at our airport. It means that the frequent flyer who comes here as late as possible at the airport, sometimes comes more than 2.5 hours when traveling with their family, and therefore have a total different way of traveling when traveling with their family. They might not go to the lounge versus when they do travel by themselves, they do, etc. All those things. So maybe, who knows, it might be also interesting for you. So things we've put in place is a travel map. What we've seen is a lot of confusion around the travel maps in regards to the color coding. And what we had last year was we did make one on our website, and it was very successful. People appreciate that it was in central information, correct and up to date. Therefore, we are working on having it up in the coming days. So you will go on it, you will see per destination, what is the color, what are the rules, what documents you need, etc. We also have implemented some other tools such as slot advice. We always recommend passengers to come 3 hours in advance for a non-Schengen flight, 2 hours in advance for a Schengen flight. Here, this is a tool that allows you to know exactly when your check-in opens. Therefore, if, for example, it opens at 9:30, it will tell you, okay, you need to leave your house at this time based on where you live, so that you're on time at the airport for your check-in opening. We also have a travel planner. This again is an idea where we have a list, a 9-step checklist before departing. It will be the documents, it will be what gate, it will not gate yet, but it will be what pier, be it A or B, what is the check-in row, etc. A whole series of tick-offs so that people feel reassured when traveling. Last and not least, we have a chat bot. So on the day of travel, if passengers still have questions, there is a possibility via WhatsApp or via Messenger to ask a last-minute question, and we have agents behind answering those questions. So as I said, really this is in our effort of being ready for the summer. We call this the readiness for summer. And it's really to assure that we respect the social distancing and not have any issues if we have an increase in number of passengers. I also want to share with you our comfort services. It's something we launched last year, but due to the circumstances, we didn't get to emphasize it enough. So something you can offer to your staff, to your clients, is our comfort service. What is it? It's basically giving access to the diamond lounges or the fast lane without being booked on a business class ticket or being on a certain status of a frequent flyer program. Here you can buy separate access to the lounge or to the fast lane. There is a specific price if you want to buy per time, or you can sign a contract with us or via your TMC. So don't hesitate to ask your TMC, where you have access indeed to a preferred price for access to the lounges and to the fast lane. Normally, an access to the Diamond Lounge is 34 euros per person, but depending if you were to set up a contract and the amount of access that you would need, that price would be different. You can buy these accesses up front, or it can be a system with a kickback at the end. So this can be interesting because, as I said, it's not linked to the airline you're flying with. It is not linked to your status. It is not linked to your reservation class. So do not hesitate, if you're interested in this, to reach out to comfortservices@brusselsairport.be or simply to myself and my colleague Gita, and we will definitely forward your email to the person responsible for this. In that same idea, we also have the B tag, which is basically a tag that you can put on your luggage, which allows you to know when your luggage arrives at Brussels Airport. So basically, when you land, you get a little message that says your luggage will be in 40 minutes, for example, at luggage belt number 4. And once it's there at luggage belt number 4, it reminds you again, says your luggage is now at luggage belt number 4. What it does, it allows you to do a last email or to, go shop again, etc. It just gives you a little bit of time and reassurance. There's a possibility for those interested to do a co-branded version of it. So basically, we would have the Brussels Airport logo on one side and then your own logo on the other. The normal price is €8 for 2, €10 for 3. But obviously here, once again, if you're looking at producing more, then we can discuss and set up a contract again. Last but not least is Enjoy. So it's our, let's say, our loyalty program for our passengers. It's a reward program. If you enroll into Enjoy, you get access to exclusive events and other experiences. Basically, you exchange hearts. So you go online, you put in the information, and every time you fly, or if you buy one of our services, you get hearts. And with those hearts, you get to exchange them for those access to events and unique experiences. That is it from our side. I'm, as I said, here with my colleague Gita. There you go. You have our email address as well here. And do not hesitate to reach out if you have questions in the coming days or later. And if you have any questions in the meantime, we are here to answer.
Thank you very much, Tanya. That was a very interesting and very informative presentation. Thanks for that. So for everybody on the phone, if you have any questions, feel free to submit them in the chat. If there are any, in the meantime, we did receive one, and I think we touched on it, but just maybe to reconfirm, it's a question related to if the lounges at the airport are open at this given moment.
Yes, they are open. So the Diamond Lounges have reopened since the 3rd of June, and Brussels Airlines, the Loft Lounge has reopened since the 16th of June, if I am correct.
Excellent, thank you for that. I have not received any other questions at this given time. So you have been very clear to all the participants with the explanation given. So thank you very much. Here, there's one more question that came in. Are the test centra open for foreign travelers?
Yes, they are open for foreign travelers. The only difference, obviously, depending, would be this an arriving passenger or a departing passenger. Obviously, they would not have access to the free activation. They would need to pay. So those would, depending if they're taking a standard one, a fast result one, or an antigen test, there are those different prices that are mentioned in the presentation, which you will receive. But yes, they are open to the public.
Thank you. We'll maybe give it one more minute if there are any questions coming in. In the meantime, if none, and we start closing this webinar, I just want to remind everybody that our next webinar will be on September 9th. More information will come as soon as possible. In the meantime, obviously, as we are just ahead of the summer holidays, I want to wish everybody a great holiday if any holidays are being planned. Again, thank you very much for the participation today, as we have no other questions that came in, so we are able to give some time back to the audience. Tanya, thank you very much for your participation. Thank you very much to Brussels Airport for the partnership. Thanks very much for everybody who joined us today. Enjoy the holidays, stay safe, and we see each other again on September 9th. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.